were talking. Yeah. Good morning. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our gatherer song, which is Be the Change, which you might remember we did a few weeks ago during the spring equinox service. Be the hope. Be the love. Let's do be the justice. Be the justice you want to see in the world. Be the justice you want to see in the world. Be the justice you want to see in the world. Be the justice, be the justice, be the justice. Light, be the light. Be the light you want to see in the world. Be the light you want to see in the world. Be the light. let's do Be the Hope one more time.
Nothing like a zipper song to get you going in the morning. Thank you, Julia and Jen. Welcome to our service this morning at Champlain Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. Welcome to those of you in the room. Welcome to those of you on Zoom. Welcome to those of you who may be watching this service sometime in the future from our website. My name is Ellen Flight, and I'm a member of the worship team. And this morning's service will be presented by ordained minister Kristabeth Atwood. She is the founder of Rites of Passage, a spiritual director, celebrant, and group facilitator based in Burlington, Vermont. After 18 years of full-time ministry, she now works with individuals and communities across spiritual and secular traditions, offering space for reflection, ritual, and meaningful acknowledgement of life transitions. She is passionate about creating experiences that are compassionate, inclusive, and grounded in the belief that love is at the center of our shared humanity. This morning, her reflection is called Stepping into the River, to go with this month's UUA theme, Embracing Possibility, the perfect lead up to our candidating week for a settled minister, which begins next Saturday. Getting a jump start, about 20 of us gathered downstairs yesterday to watch together the ordination ceremony of our candidate, now the Reverend Michael DeSantis. A little housekeeping. We have hearing assistants in the back of the room. Margy has those. If you are here for the first time, an especially warm welcome to you this morning. And we hope that you will fill out a blue card at the greeting table in the foyer so that we can email you pieces of information. And we really would like to invite you to come downstairs after the service for our social time in the Ann Ross Fellowship Hall, where we gather as a whole community of children and adults to socialize, catch up with one another, and welcome you, our visitors, to fellowship. Today we celebrate our April birthday, so there will be cake. This week, we'd like to thank the Flower Buds for their commitment to providing us with beautiful and varied floral offerings each week. While we generally do not name names in these thank yous, I would like to acknowledge Marnie Wood, who for many weeks this winter has been the sole bud providing for this ministry. A big job. Each week, I look forward to seeing what will be adorning our sanctuary, and if you were to scan the photos on my phone, you would find many of the beautiful arrangements that they offer throughout the year. I'm especially looking forward, even, spring showers bring summer flowers, the offerings that will come from the flowers that we get from our CSA, our local CSA, so there'll be bright and colorful things coming. Each week, we acknowledge that we gather on the unceded land of the Western Abenaki people. Our weekly acknowledgement is a collective act of social justice. We remind ourselves of the people who lived on and were stewards of the lands where we gather, and that they are our neighbors today. We strive to honor the land and learn from current members of the Western Abenaki people. To that end, I want to alert you to 2 spring events that I would like you to get on your calendars so that we can learn more about and celebrate our Abenaki neighbors. The Abenaki Nation of Missisquoi, I never can say that word, their heritage celebration, which is an annual event, is Memorial Day up in Swanton. So if you're looking for something to do on that third extra day that you get that weekend, head up to Swanton. And in June, mid-June, the Abenaki Heritage Weekend is more local and close to us at the Lake Champlain Maritime Museum in Vergennes. There's drumming, storytelling, and educational presentations, and I encourage all of you, no matter your age, to go on up and learn a little bit more about the Abenaki in Vermont. And with that, I invite you to join in the chalice lighting. Is Cora, are you coming on up to light our chalice? And then we'll say together the chalice lighting that is in your order of service or up on the screen. Thank you, Cora. We light this flame for what is not yet known, for the questions that stretch us, the hopes that whisper, and the courage that flickers on some certain days. We kindle this flame for beginnings that are only just becoming. And now,
good morning. It's truly a gift to be with you here, and thank you, Ellen, for that introduction, and thank you for welcoming me into your community today. I invite you now into a poem that opens to us the possibility of what might yet unfold. This is How It Might Continue by Rosemary Witoller Traumer. Wherever we go, the chance for joy, whole orchards of amazement, one more reason to travel with our pockets full of exclamation marks. So we might scatter them for others like apple seeds. Some will dry out, some will blow away, but some will take root and grow exuberant groves filled with long, thin fruits that resemble one hand clapping. So much enthusiasm as they flutter back and forth, that although nothing's heard, and though nothing's really changed, people everywhere, for years to come, will swear that the world is ripe with applause, will fill their own pockets with new seeds to scatter. And now, please stand in body or spirit for our home, Gather the Spirit. Thank you for those words, Kristabeth. Okay, I am Julia Santerre. If you don't know me, I am the Religious Exploration Coordinator here at Cvuus, and I have a story for you today. So it is based on a book by Marielle Messier, hopefully I'm saying that right, called The Branch, but I'm just going to tell you the story. So this story begins with a windstorm. Have any of you experienced a windstorm? Yes, there was a bit of one at my house yesterday, honestly. I was outside through it. It was not super fun. So this story begins with a windstorm at night. And a child wakes up the next morning and looks out her window to see that her favorite branch has fallen from the tree in her yard. Now, favorite is really an understatement here because this branch was her hideaway. It was her castle, her pirate ship, and many, many other things. So she was really upset. And after breakfast, as communities do, all of the neighborhood was out cleaning up because there were trees in the street, there were branches everywhere. So neighbors were helping each other clear the streets and the driveways. Children were picking up sticks and branches and bringing them to a big pile on the side, presumably to be chipped. And this child went and she took one end of her branch and heaved it up and started dragging it towards the pile. Her heart was broken. And then an older neighbor living next door saw her and said, "What are you doing with that branch?" And she was like, What do you mean? I'm bringing it to the pile. And he said, "I see possibilities in that branch." She was confused. What possibilities? He said, "I work and make things with salvaged wood. I wonder what is hiding in that branch." And they started to talk about what the possibilities could be. With her parents' permission, he showed her how to measure and cut and sand and plane and screw things together. And soon, the branch became something new. The branch could still be a hideaway and a castle and a pirate ship, but now it was in the form of a swing. I wonder what possibilities are hiding in our congregation during these windstorms that we've been experiencing. Thank you all. And I invite you all to sing the children out with me. We're going to go celebrate Earth Day and learn about Hinduism, depending on age. Thank you, Kristabeth.
My name is Jordan Young. I use they, them pronouns, but you know that if you've looked at my name tag and if we've ever talked at social hour. So they means, why do I have that on my name tag? I have it on my name tag because it indicates that I identify as non-binary. Why put that on my name tag? Why have that piece of affirmation there? Because being seen for how I identify is really affirming. And that's not always obvious from the way people present. I have a couple of friends in this congregation who identify as bi. They're married. They have no outward signifier that says that they're bi. And they tell me that walking around with that identity and not having it be expressed in any way, it hurts a little bit. I don't have a solution for them. It's a challenge, I think, that one carries with that identity. But when you hear that pronoun, in this case, used, it's really affirming. I know that it can be hard to do. I've messed up my own pronouns. I've been in conversations with people and gone like, wait, what? What did I just say? And I was, those of you who were at Michael's ordination or saw that online yesterday noticed that people messed up in there, and it wasn't a big deal. Picked it up, realized it, went on. Sometimes didn't pick it up, but just went on and got it right 90-some-odd% of the time. We are who we are. I super respect one of the people I was in a meeting with at Cvuus, and we were talking about this, and they mispronounced someone, and we were kind of making light of it because we didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but we pointed out, and they said, no, this is like, I'm going to take this really seriously. I don't want to joke about it. This is hard for me, they said. And I really appreciated that this person acknowledged that and really said that they were taking it seriously. That really touched me. So I said that I identify as non-binary, which means what? For that matter, trans means what? Queer, another word out there, means what? Queer is the word, the identity that I carry, I think, most strongly. I was up at a conference at UVM probably 10 years ago now, and they had an affinity room for people who identified as queer. And I walked into that room, and I saw kids from junior high school age up to people, I'm 71 now, people who were like in their 70s. They were really old back at the time, back 10 years ago. Not so much now. And I looked around, and it was like, these are my people. These are people who share a lived experience with me. And it felt in some way like coming home. Now, you all are my people. I mean, that's why I'm a member of this community. It's where my heart lives in so many ways. And yet, very few of you share the lived experience that I share with those people in that room. And that was really, really powerful to me. So I'm taking a leaf from the experience of a very good friend of mine, Aaron, who walks around to farmers markets in Vermont with a big sign that says, "Ask a trans person." So after the service today down at Social Hour, you'll see me in the corner by the window where I think it's quieter with a big sign that says, "Ask a queer person." And I love to have these conversations. Ask me all the questions. Let's talk about everything, what all the words mean. Does this mean that? If you say you're this, does this mean you're that? I love to have those conversations, and I look forward to having them with you, and I promise that we can be done in time for the congregational conversation with the search team. Look forward to seeing you downstairs.
Thanks, Jordan. It is now the time in our service when we collect an offering, and as many of you know, each week we share our offering with another organization in our community. And this month, the organization we're sharing our offering with is Migrant Justice. And you can read on the sign what their mission statement is, but they work with folks from who work on our lands and in our farms, often in the dark shadow, to help make sure that they have justice. So please be as generous as possible, and we will now collect the offering.
As the choir gets into position, I want to tell you a little bit about the song we're going to sing. It's Last Night I Had the Strangest Dream. I think the song has been recorded by over 50 artists. You might be familiar with it, so I'm going to invite you to hum or sing along. I'm going to read through the words just so you can remember what they are. And I think that this song is considered the theme song of the Peace Corps. Here are the words, and it's by Ed McCurdy. Last night I had the strangest dream I'd ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. I dreamed I saw a mighty room filled with women and men, and the paper they were signing said they'd never fight again. And when the paper was all signed and 1 million copies made, they all joined hands and bowed their heads, and grateful prayers were prayed. And the people in the streets below were dancing round and round, while swords and guns and uniforms were scattered on the ground. Last night I had the strangest dream I'd ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war.
Thank you for that beautiful musical offering this morning. We have a few yellow cards to share milestones and passages. From Betsy. Betsy needs enormous prayer for physical health and other things, and she thanks us. She says she loves us all, that God is love, and He loves us all and all of creation. And from Marnie Wood, I am so grateful that we had the opportunity to view the ordination service of our ministerial candidate yesterday. It was full of so much love, capital, underlined, exclamation point. The congregation in Golden, Colorado welcomed us warmly. We got 2 shout-outs during the service as the Vermont people on Zoom. Everyone participating shared so openly how Michael's energy, knowledge, and shared strengths are available already. Look within. Trust community and connection. Live into the complexity. Be open to the new. These are phrases I heard that felt especially significant. We are very fortunate to be welcoming Michael into our lives. We'll take a few moments to let those sink in and to also access those milestones and passages that are in our hearts.
The poem we will now hear speaks to the nature of change, the way life keeps moving, whether we're ready or not, and the quiet, powerful choice we are given to remain on the shore or to step into the current. This is River by Lynn Unger. Everyone knows you can't step into the same river twice. But really, the moment you submit to the cold and your toes hit the slippery rocks, the river you entered is already gone. The boulders have been there for eons. The minnows dart about the shallows, but roughly speaking, remain. The river itself is nothing but movement, flowing like time in the only direction it can go. It moves without volition, without resistance, blessed by gravity to know where it must go. Your choice is more complicated, but not much. Don't imagine that you are immune to gravity or time. Take your pick. Your options are to stay safe and dry on the shore, or slip into the current and be carried away. Now let us take a breath together as we let those words settle and move within us. These past weeks, and honestly, these past months and years have been a lot. I don't have to tell you what's happening in the world right now. We're living in a time where so much feels uncertain, when the ground beneath us can feel like it's shifting in ways that are impossible to accept. And alongside the larger concerns of the world, there are also the quieter, more personal things we carry, the private griefs, the uncertainties, the transitions that don't always have words. And even within the life of a community, especially in times of transition, there are moments when something new is beginning to take shape, and yet we can't see quite what it will become. Moments when what once felt steady no longer quite holds, and what comes next has not yet arrived. In times like this, uncertainty isn't just an idea, it lives in the body. It can feel unsettling, disorienting. And still, this is the space we find ourselves in, not outside of it, but within it. Perhaps in moments like these, the invitation is not to rush past the uncertainty, but to stay with it long enough to notice what else might be here. Because life is uncertain, and it is also somehow still full of possibility. I know we're each finding our way to live in times like these. Some of us stay closely informed, knowledge offering a sense of steadiness or control. Others create a bit of space from the noise, tending to what's close at hand, our families, our communities, the small circles of care around us. Some take action in visible ways, while others respond more quietly, by writing a letter, talking with a friend, reaching out to someone we haven't spoken to in a while. There's no single right way to move through a time like this. We're each finding our own way as best we can. And part of what it means to stay present to all of this, personally, communally, and globally, is learning how to care for ourselves and one another along the way so that we don't lose heart. The theme that was shared with me from your Soul Matters curriculum for this month is, as Ellen mentioned, embracing possibility. It reminded me of something my father used to say. My dad was handy, and he enjoyed building things with wood and metal. He made things like streetlights and sleds and wooden chests. When I was growing up, I would sometimes have an idea of something that he could build for me, or a project that he could do. After thinking about it for a minute, he would say, "Well, that's just not humanly possible." Invariably, though, he would figure out a way, and what at first seemed impossible became possible. Over the years, it became a joke in my family as to what was actually humanly possible. So I've been thinking about that word this week, possibility, not as something certain or guaranteed, but as something more like an opening, an invitation, a way of looking at the world that asks us to imagine what might be, even when we cannot yet see how it could happen. And it strikes me that this way of seeing, this insistence that things are not fixed, and that people are not finished, and that the world is not yet what it could be, feels deeply true at this time. It's a way of being that leans into potential, that resists giving up on one another, that dares, even in difficult times, to imagine something more loving, more just, more whole. And maybe at its heart, it sounds like this: why not? Why not believe a better world is possible? Why not trust ourselves as we step into what's next? Why not choose to see the good in each other? Why not act as if what we do matters? This kind of why not perspective requires both vulnerability and courage. Vulnerability to believe that our actions could make a difference, and courage to risk having our hearts broken. The Latin root of the word courage is cor, which means heart. When I think about our world today, it's often easier to see the brokenness than to see the possibility. But when I think about the places closest to me, I see connection, collaboration, and hope. Just this week, one neighbor reached out offering up blackberry canes to anyone in the neighborhood who was interested. Another neighbor, a professional baker, let us know that she had baked several loaves of bread and a few dozen donuts, not to sell, but to share with us. And as the warm weather comes upon us here in Vermont, people out walking their dogs and riding their bikes are stopping by to say hello. All of this made me think of Rosemary Watola Traumer's poem. Wherever we go, the chance for joy, whole orchards of amazement. One more reason to always travel with our pockets full of exclamation marks. Our world is made up of neighborhoods just like mine and yours. So why not? Why not imagine a future of possibility for the towns and villages and cities and suburbs, street corners and hamlets that together make up our global community? The Latin root of the word possibility means to have power. When we see possibility, we have power. When we envision what could be, we access an inner power, something that no one can take away from us. That's no small thing. It's easy to believe that power belongs only to those with titles or wealth, but we also have the power. We have the power of why not? The power of believing that something new and better is in fact humanly possible. As Adrienne Marie Brown writes, I think it is healing behavior to look at something so broken and see the possibilities and wholeness in it. And even as we connect with the possibilities, we need to honor our needs as vulnerable humans with tender hearts. As we try to move toward that better way, even as we try to see the possibility in that broken tree branch, we cannot neglect our needs for joy, for connection, for rest. We need to surround ourselves with people who see and nurture our light. We need to make time for playfulness, whether it's a hobby we enjoy or spending time with people who help us to be our silly selves. We also need time to rest, to just be without concern for productivity or checking things off our to-do lists. When things feel uncertain, it's tempting to think that we should not waste time with what we might think are trivial pursuits, but I think that's exactly the wrong instinct. I think that is the very time to lean into beauty and rest, connection. These things remind us of our humanity. For me, that looks like reading novels, cuddling with my dogs, spending time with friends, listening to music, watching a good show. These are not escapes from reality so much as ways to stay human within it. Life is uncertain. We don't get guarantees, but uncertainty is not the opposite of possibility. It's the very space where possibility lives. And that brings us to the river. Lynn Unger reminds us that life is always moving and changing. The river doesn't wait for us to feel ready. It keeps flowing. And we, whether we like it or not, are part of that movement. So perhaps the question before us is not whether the river is moving, it always is. The question is whether we will remain on the shore or whether we will trust ourselves and each other enough to step in. Why not? Why not is the question that we ask when we're standing at the edge, unsure, hesitant, feeling the cold water at our feet. And something in us begins to wonder if we might step in anyway. Why not? Because stepping in doesn't mean that we have it all figured out. It doesn't mean that we know where the current will take us. It means that we're willing to be part of something that's still unfolding. It means that we're willing to be changed by it. As Lynn Unger writes, your options are to stay safe and dry on the shore, or slip into the current and be carried away. And yes, there is risk in that. The current can feel strong. We may lose our footing for a moment. We may be carried in directions we didn't plan. But perhaps being carried away isn't always something to fear. Maybe at times it is exactly what we need. To be carried beyond our certainty, to be carried into something larger than ourselves, something we could not create alone. So the road ahead may not be easy. There's really no doubt about that. But when we stay connected to glimpses of a better world and to the people and practices that keep us grounded and human, then hope becomes a little more possible. Courage becomes a little more possible. And perhaps together, we begin to trust that even if we don't know exactly where we're going, we're not without direction. The current is moving, and we can choose to step in together. So let us now stand together in body or spirit as we sing our hymn, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
We have several announcements that I'd like to highlight from the back of your order of service on pathways to connection. The first one is a message from Joanna Caldwell about an upcoming nonviolent direct action training that will be happening next Sunday at noon. It is specifically timed so that folks from here can attend after the Sunday service because they know we'll be hosting our candidate. But it is in preparation for a big action at the ICE facility in St. Albans on May 8th. And there will be a legal demo at 12, and many people will be doing civil disobedience later in the day. And anyone who wants to be part of that civil disobedience needs to attend nonviolent direct training beforehand. So this is your opportunity right here in Middlebury. The second announcement is related to social justice here at CVUS. We've talked about this before, that there are several seed projects through social justice, and I want to highlight two that connected more recently. While listening to the words of the many special guest ministers who took part in the ordination ceremony yesterday, I was particularly struck by the comments from one minister who spoke to the importance of keeping love at the center, while also reminding us to look to the edges as well. For those not always included also need to have love shared with them. And with that in mind, I want to share a letter. I don't know whether many of you know, we have one of the seed projects from social justice is our cupboard, and another one of our seed projects is our relationship with Green Mountain Justice. And during the run-up to Easter, those two groups got together, and we created, some of it was spearheaded by Karen Cooper, we prepared Easter bags for those people who are part of the Neighbor Care Neighbors Network from social justice, from Green Mountain Justice. And then those bags were delivered, and I'd like to share with you the thank you note that we got from Green Mountain Justice and our own Tom Morgan. Dear CVUS community, thank you. This week our Neighbor Care Neighbors are hand delivering your Easter baskets to neighbors in our care ecosystem, one by one, door by door, face to face. They are being received with gratitude and more than a few sparks of joy. That matters. A lot of our neighbors don't get many surprise gifts. They don't get many moments that say, someone thought of you. Your baskets say exactly that. This is what neighbor care looks like in practice. Not a program, not a transaction, a person showing up at someone's door with something made for them by a community that cares. In faith, for justice, Tom. So, thanks to all of you for that. I would also like to remind you that this Wednesday is Earth Day, and there'll be events happening. And now, a special announcement from our search committee. Oh.
Is this registered to go on? It's right there. Okay. Welcome to Jeopardy, everyone. So we're going to play a little game now. Could you hold this for a moment, Andrea? Help me unload my surprise. Thanks to Dorothy. Here. We work as a team, just so you know. We work as a team. Yeah, but I don't need that stuff. Sorry. I just need these. We're going to be over here. Thank you. And so our category today is Unitarian Universalist ministers. Okay. Andrea, would you like to start?
Sure. I'll take UU ministers for 100 hearts.
All right. This ordained UU minister is trained to be an Our Whole Lives instructor.
Who is Reverend Michael DeSantis?
Excellent, Andrea. Very well done. Thank you. Here. Okay. Would you like to choose the next question?
Yes. I'll take UU ministers for 200 hearts.
Okay. Thank you. Yep. This UU minister testified before the Colorado legislature in support of the Kelly-Loving Act to protect trans rights. Any volunteers?
I'll take Reverend Michael DeSantis. Who is Reverend Michael DeSantis?
Well done putting your response in the form of a question. Don't forget that part. Okay. Hannah, you get to choose the next item.
I'll take UU ministers for 300 hearts, please.
All right. This UU minister has extensive pastoral care experience in end-of-life, memory care, and college student ministry. Who has the answer to that?
Can somebody help me out, please? Who is Reverend Michael DeSantis?
Well done with some help. Okay. Ben, you get to choose the next category.
Oh, I think I will also take UU ministers, but for 400 hearts this time.
This UU minister was arrested with other clergy for blocking the Brooklyn Bridge to protect the genocide in Gaza. Who would like that one?
Protest.
I'm sorry. This UU minister was arrested with other clergy for blocking the Brooklyn Bridge to protest the genocide in Gaza. Who's ready for that one?
What do you think? Audience?
Very well done. Okay. Now we just need to find the five. You can tell this is unrehearsed. Here we go.
She's Googling this.
Oh my gosh. I think we'll have to think later about what the. I'm not sure that goes along with the covenant we wrote as a search team at the beginning of the year, but I don't know. All right. Who would like UU ministers for 500 hearts? Okay. What do you think?
Yes.
Yes? 500 hearts. Okay, but I need an answer.
We don't have a question. What's the question?
What's the question? Okay. This UU minister has served Eastern and Mountain West congregations of 60 through 650 members. Altogether? Who is Reverend Michael DeSantis? Thank you. Thank you for playing Jeopardy, everyone. I think everybody wins this game, so thank you. A reminder that the search team is going to be having a congregational conversation at 11:30 up here in the sanctuary. Could you please raise your hand if you're planning to come, just so we can have an idea of how many chairs to set up? Okay. Great. Thank you so much.
Great job.
I think that was my first ever Jeopardy in worship service. I love it. As we come to the end of our time together, may you leave here a little more open to the possibilities already unfolding in your life, a little more grounded in the people and practices that sustain you, and a little more courageous to step toward what is not yet fully known. The river is always moving, and while we may not know exactly where it leads, we do not step into it alone. May we trust the current and trust one another as we find our way forward.
And will you join me in our extinguishing of the chalice? From the words in your order of service are on the screen. We extinguish.